What probably slightly annoyed prehistoric humans. Accidentally chipping a bit too hard when you're finishing up a spearhead and ruining it when you leave Grog to watch the fire and he falls asleep and lets it go out, and you have to start it all over again being called a Neanderthal fucker, when we all know there is nothing wrong with that actually. When you wake up in the morning and you roll out of your pile of leaves and hay and your feet touch the freezing cold rock cave floor. Mosquitoes. When the waitress at Bronco Burgers tips your car over by putting those fucking huge ribs on the side of it. Stepping on stone Legos. Saber-toothed tigers. When the wind turns at the wrong moment during a hunt. When that load fucking asshole neighbor won't stop yelling, yabba dabba doo. Accidentally wiping with poison ivy. Periods with no proper pads, tampons or painkillers available. Having to eat bloated ticks off their friend who fell asleep in tall grass after having 10 too many fermented crabapples. Standing in mammoth shit. They didn't have air conditioning, so I bet their balls got stuck to their legs constantly. I bet their Wi-Fi was really, really slow. When one of the big stone wheels on their car went flat. Manscaping with a sharp rock. Probably trying to find out what they can and cannot eat. Oh, look at this little bush with little orange fruits. Bam fucking habaneros. Now you're convinced you're dying for like an hour. When someone is blocking the cave painting while you're trying to wank off to it. Toothache. Metal had not yet been invented, so there were no pliers to extract teeth. Those vandals who painted all over their cave walls. Dinosaurs knocking about. Carl Pilkington. The word, fuck, hadn't been invented yet, so when they stepped on a Lego barefoot at 3 a.m., they could only yell, ambrosia. Fleas and lice were a constant back then, but I can't imagine ever really getting used to them. Kids poop in eat corner and eat in poop corner. I not mad they just kids but they need learn respect cave, then have own cave someday. When you sneeze while making a negative handprint on a cave, when you come back home with a fawn you killed and your kid says, Gert's daddy killed a moose yesterday. When your deer's skin is slightly too short to make a decent top. When you tried to make a swing needle out of bones and it broke. Again. When you told your father and husband to kill a moose and they killed a mammoth while you don't have time to cut all of it in the day or the place to stock it. And they are proud of them, when your new neighbors went picking wild plants and they even took the young sprouts or when they starts cut flint before sunrise. I don't know what sort of clothes they had on but it probably chafed like shit. Having to take a shit outside of their caves when the temperature outside is freezing cold. The Great Gazoo. Figuring out how to turn coffee beans into coffee. Thag. First you roast them, then you grind them into little pieces, then you discover fire to boil water, then you filter boiling water through the pieces. Then drink. Diarrhea. Boom. Chronic or repeated infections of malaria. It was probably uncomplicated malarial infection, with fevers, weakness, mild spleen, liver enlargement, etc. https://www.cdc.gov/malaria/about/disease.html closing square bracket opening parenthesis https://www.cdc.gov/malaria/about/disease.html closing parenthesis. Animals fucking with their stuff. Well, nobody likes a stubbed toe. More than a slight annoyance, what the heck did the women do when they got a yeast infection? Those are horrific without prescription diflucan. You can't even walk if you have a bad one. Swamp ass. Time travelers taking pictures or videos and taking souvenirs. Random noises waking them up at night. Kids filling up the cave walls with their emojis when they could have just written out their stories. Mammoth sales. Never any decent mammoths. Asking your husband to fetch berries for once because you're pregnant and waking up the next day with twice the morning sickness because he didn't know the bad ones. Bugs. Like flies, gnats, mosquitoes. No bug spray, no window screens, no deterrent. I'm thinking about my girlfriend whose legs are constantly covered in bites after like an hour outside with bug spray on. When a flying dinosaur bird shits on them. Going to your favorite fruit tree or berry bush and finding someone else has already picked it clean. Child paternities would have been convoluted with no detectable father to ascribe responsibility to. Conception was attributed to the last act of copulation because they were ignorant of the intricacies of fertility. Conjecture and serendipity declared primitives father. Monogamists evolved to be more vociferous in tandem with religious sensibilities and the concept of property and inheritance. Eating mammoth meat for days on end. Menstrual cramps. Trump supporters. Every time they had sex, a baby was on the way. Pooping before toilets. Mosquitoes. Slightly annoying humans for approximately 200k years. Those bloody beaker kids and their fancy bronze they keep going on about. They should try hunting and gathering for a change. That's real work, lad. Having to poop outside the cave when it was raining. Getting something stuck in their teeth. Slowly whittling down a twig into a pick with a stone flake, only to have the tip of the pick break off. Now grog have to make pick again and two things stuck in teeth. Stubbing your toe. When your neighbor gets a flashy, new, lighter model of your solid stone pedal car. Man, why is the river falling from the sky? It's ruining my hair. Neanderthal kids taking your favorite rock and not putting it back. Eating random plants in the wild and having chronic diarrhea. Coming back from the hunt and having to wait hours for your wife to finish cooking the mastodon. I think a lot of things that we take for granted would be a huge deal for prehistoric humans, even humans living 100 years ago. I recently broke my tibia. Now it was pretty painful blah 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 and I had to get surgery. But in the grand scheme of things, it's just an annoyance for 3 months. Now if that had have happened to a caveman, they probably would have never walked ever again. Seriously, you go to show you're pleased to meet the other tribe from across the valley and no one has an erection to show they're friendly, even though they are. How about pain more generally? There were no NSAIDs, anesthetics, etc. We're so used to taking pills to address our aches and pains, e.g., headaches, bloating, but back then you basically just had to push through it. When the girl you have a crush on goes for the literal Neanderthal. Watching their fellow counterparts begin to develop better societies while you're stuck with your shitty cave and a partner who may not love you with uncivilized kids that just eats your good you just work to gather. Dying at age 35. Having 50-member families. Getting diarrhea and having no decent way to clean your butt. Flesh-eating bacteria. Making fire. Taking a dump and realizing there's nothing to wipe your butt with. When your kids let the fire go out. You had one job. What have you been doing this whole time? Splinters everywhere. The fact that good quality shitposts were relegated to the smooth walls of hot single caves in their area. Accidentally biting the inside of their cheek. Going out on the pole and forgetting their club. Biting the inside of their mouth while chewing. Thanks for watching. See you later.